Hey guys, Andy here. So I'm going to try and do something a little bit different today because I'm basically borrowing somebody else's phone. So I'm going to try and do the unboxing and a kind of a mini review in one video. The phone is the Pixel 2, thank you very much to my brother. It's literally, I've just taken it from the delivery man outside. I've only just got home in time for it. And I've started, this is where we're starting the video, in this initial state. I didn't even actually see the box until there it is. Team Pixel. That's quite nice. Nice bright green. Google Pixel 2. I'm not actually sure what specs it was that he ordered, if it's the 64 or 128. We will see. Oh, what colour? I think it's the black one. I don't know if that picture is representative of. And now yeah, there we go. So there it is. So the whole kind of glass top is quite a, I don't know if controversial is the word, but it seems to split opinion. I really like it. I like it. I think it's even better this year, where it kind of wraps a bit better around to the edges. So last year's is my last year's Pixel XL. I've got a cover on it, but it's starting short of the edge. Actually, now I kind of do think the way we've done this does look better. Let's come back to the phone in a second. Let's pop that aside just for the moment. Welcome to Team Pixel. Let's get started, shall we? Fine. Just leave that aside. Oh, okay. So, was that an OTG dongle? We'll plug into the bottom of the phone, and you can plug, I guess, your own storage or other things into that. It's quite smart. That aside. So, as you probably are aware already, there is no headphone jack on the device. So you're going to use the adapter. Again, plugs into the USB Type-C. Plug your headphones in there, and off you go. I don't have a particular issue. I know some people say, well, how am I going to charge and listen to music? Well, don't. But it will charge so quick these days that I find it hard to believe you don't find a moment where you can do that. Type-C to Type-C charging cable, we'll leave that in there. I don't think that's going to need to come out. And I guess the charging brick. Quite nice. I think it's like an 18 watts, 18 watts charger, which I would imagine is going to charge at quite a rapid rate. So let's get to the actual phone. So you may have seen, because quite a lot of people did, surprisingly, I went into the Google store earlier in the week to play with the XL. Oh, I think that looks lovely. Well, it feels quite textured on the back. I wasn't expecting that. You can hear that, can't you? What was I saying? Yeah, so I went to how to play with the XL. I didn't play with the regular Pixel 2. I think that looks really good. That's really nice. Really nice. So let's talk briefly about the design first of all. Now, the bezels are one thing. Should we try and start booting it up while we're talking? The bezels, as you can see there, as the screen lights up, the bezels apparently really upset some people. They think, how on earth in this day and age can you have bezels that size? I just don't see it being that big a thing. I mean, they're not ridiculously massive. They're big, but they're not ridiculously massive. And of course, they house, I don't know how well you can see actually, the dual front-facing speakers, stereo speakers. Do we get an English? Well, I suppose it doesn't matter too much at this point. Keep going. Whatever. Skip that for the moment. Thank you. I'll have to do that in a second, I suppose. So I'll tell you. I'm just going to log into. The Wi-Fi so that it can carry on with the process, hopefully. Nice and responsive keyboard, as you'd expect. So yeah, I'm really not that bothered by I'm really quite liking this already. This is nice. I mean, I do prefer the bigger device, which is why I've gone for the XL. But actually, I think it's really I think it feels very good in the hand. I like the textured body. It's not slippy. So let's look around the rest of the design. The bezels, if you can't deal with that, that's your problem really, not the phone's. This is what it is. Don't buy it if you don't like it. I suppose it's quite simple. So I've mentioned the stereo speakers. We'll try them momentarily. I do like I think it's kind of, it's the recognizable bit now, hopefully, that distinguishes it from other devices. So there's only so much that you can do with a phone to make it look different, because you looking at the front of that, you could say, oh, it looks a bit like the iPhone 6 or 7 or 8. Well, I know they're all much the same to me, but I think that gives it a bit more of a distinct look. The fingerprint sensor still in the middle of the back. Obviously we need to configure that. I've heard it's like blazing fast, so I'm really keen to see how that does, especially against my Honor 9, because that was ridiculously fast. So if the Pixel can do as well as that, I'll be really pleased. I mentioned no headphone jack, but what that does help is it's got the IP67 certification this year, which is along the lines of it can go 1 meter deep for 30 minutes. Now, I've only got this device for 4 or 5 hours. I'm not going to spend 30 minutes with it in the bath. And because it's not my device, that probably wouldn't be a good idea, because if it did have any issues with it, I wouldn't want to be the cause of those problems. So there is no headphone jack. There is the adapter. You can get more adapters. I've bought 8 of them for $12 off AliExpress. Just scatter them out, one in the car, one at work, one in my bedside drawer, the rest from my brother sort of thing. But I don't see it being that big an issue. It's 7.8 millimeters thin or thick, and it's 143 grams. And I would say it feels quite light, because 143 is not particularly light. It's not heavy, but it's not. But it does feel good. There's no SD card slots, which again, I don't know. Maybe it's I don't know. Everyone criticizes, but no one really is a phone designer. I don't know what difference that makes. So I know you get these different SIM card slots that you can put a SIM in and a micro SD card, or 2 SIMs. But that might drastically alter things inside in the back. I don't know. So to me, it's not right to criticize, because we don't know why they have to make the decisions they make. And for me, again, I do use cloud. I know some people don't have good enough connections, perhaps, but most people these days have a solid connection all the time. Just use the cloud. You don't need all your music on your phone. Just use the cloud is my kind of response. The device, the Pixel 2, comes in 3 different colors. Kinda blue, which I think looks amazing personally. Just black, this one, and a clearly white. Those names got a bit of a giggle at the presentation. I'm not really quite sure why, but the blue personally, I thought it looked really, really nice. And it was quite tempting even, although I do like the bigger phones. What's it actually getting at? Oh, we're still checking for updates, are we? Let's talk about the hardware. So the screen itself is a 5-inch 1080 by 1920 AMOLED screen. That's about 441 pixels per inch. The screen to body ratio is about 67.9. That's kind of how big the screen is, how much of it is bezel really. It should have, I'm just going to, where did I get to? So it should have the always on screen, which I'm actually really looking forward to. We'll see how that works. And it's all protected by Gorilla Glass 5, so that should be pretty solid. So I think it wants me to set up. Okay, we've got to set up a pin. Let's do that first. So touch the sensor. Let's use my right hand. It's a bit more awkward for the camera, but trying to use different parts of my finger here just in case that matters. Fingerprint added. Yep, fine, whatever. Just come on. Oh, I should have said I should do it. Okay, Google. Okay, Google. Yep. Okay, Google. I got my phone down here. I got my Google Home over there. Cancel. I don't understand. Shush. Oh. Whatever's fine. Not at the moment. Where did I get to? Right, so the chipset is the Snapdragon 835, which is basically top of the range at the moment. There was talk, or there was hope, that it would be the 836. I don't think Qualcomm got it ready in time, unfortunately. So it's a little bit of a shame, because that would have been the first device with the 836 chipset. It's an octa-core CPU, which is 4 by 2.35 gigahertz cryo and 4 by 1.9 gigahertz cryo, with an Adreno 540 GPU. Now, one thing I forgot to get the details of, there is also another SoC system on chip that Google only yesterday or the day before kind of announced that was built into it, which is to help process HDR photos. Now, if you've seen any of the reviews already, the HDR photos look fantastic already. So I guess, I don't know, it's almost kind of like, why do they need more processing power? They already look fantastic. It already is apparently constantly taking pictures when you're in the camera app, and then when you press it, that's when it snaps the latest one. It's that advanced already. Anyway, so this one, again, I don't know if there's a 64 gig or it's the 128 gig you splashed out. So the 64 gig is £629. The 128 gig is £729. So it's £100 for the extra 64 gig. It was one of the things that really kind of quite upset, well, not upset me, but annoyed me a little bit last year, that they went from 32 to 128. 32 probably is pushing it a little bit for me, but 128 is too much. But that was kind of my only option because 32 just isn't big enough. So, and it has 4 gig of RAM. What's it doing? Just updating. Yeah, okay. What else? It does have Active Edge. I don't know if it's on by default. Squeeze for your assistant. So there we get to say, I'm going to go with reasonably firm. Continue to assistant. Done.
I'm your Google Assistant. I can help you find what you need and get things done.
Later.
Hi, I'm your Google Assistant.
So you are. So I think, I mean, that's... Okay, so obviously I've turned up a bit, and that is... I have to give it a reasonably firm. You're not going to do that taken out of your pocket, put it that way. Right, I do want to check the fingerprint sensor. Let's see how quick. That is pretty quick. I mean, I almost don't get to that. I'm quite impressed with that. That will be interesting going head to head with the Honor 9, because I'm not sure it's quite... Let me try just a light tap. That was too heavy. Oh, interesting. So I did squeeze it there, trying to... That's pretty good. That is pretty good. That was a very light tap. It's still updating things. Where did I get to? So Active Edge, we just seen that. Type-C connector we already kind of know about. Front-facing speakers. Let's have a... Oh wait, people complain about Ed. Who am I gonna use instead of Ed Sheeran? Can I just type in YouTube music and see what comes up? Ed Sheeran. I don't even know who that is. Let's just wait for... Yep, fine. Skip the ad. Come on,
Pick
give.
up the phone, you know he's only calling 'cause he's drunk and alone too. Don't let him in, you have to kick him out again. 3, don't be his friend, you know you can only if you're under him. You ain't getting over him. I got no rules, I count him.
I would say that sounds... I'm going back to Ed, I'm sorry. Just because I know what... let's just see. I won't mind. Don't do it's there. Where the chuff? Even then, there we are. I think that sounds pretty damn good, really.
It's your friend's birthday, and you want to find something just right for them. What do you choose?
Me and her, we make money the same way. 4 cities, 2 planes the same day. And those shows have never been what it's about. But maybe we'll go together and just figure it out. I'd rather...
So I think that does sound really good. Right, this video is getting longer than I was expecting to, so we might stick to the unboxing being this video, and I'll do another quick video later on, perhaps that's the mini review, because we're not even really finished. So those speakers I thought sound really, very good. The screen itself, there's a lot of discussion about the screen. It's normally more about the... it's normally more about the XL at the moment. There's a lot of... They get a funny tint. How can we open a... Can we open anything that's white? So it's talking about there being a blue tint on the XL when you, so that one looks, I think that's pretty damn good. And look at the viewing angles on that. Nice, sharp and crisp. How bright? We're halfway, that's fine. So I will, when I come back to the review part or the review video, I'll have tested the screen brightness, I'll have tested the volume of the speakers with my sound meter, and I'll give you all that kind of information. Let's just see what else I might want to, I think for the unboxing, oh, we're not really talking about the camera, have we? Let's have a quick look at the camera. So the main camera is a 12.2 megapixel f1.8, which is pretty good. I mean, there are some that have f1.6. The lower you can get, the better. The lower means more light can get in. The wider it can open up, I think, meaning the more light can get in, therefore the better it's going to do in dark. It does have optical image stabilizer. Oh, I thought it was a mark on the lens then. Optical image stabilization. It also has automatic HDR. The video, it can do 2160p at 30 frames per second. It can do a 1080p at 120 frames per second, which I think is pretty amazing. And then we've got the sort of almost standard 720p at 240 frames per second for the slow motion. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about the camera and how basically how amazing it is. So I'll be really interested. I'll try and get a few pictures and some video while there's still a bit of daylight, and a bit while it's dark, of course, as well. The front-facing camera, 8 megapixel f2.4, so that's not as good, 2.4. Having said that, I've seen some pictures, people, because again, lots of discussion about the portrait mode. I think they look amazing, the ones I've seen. Some people, I'm not quite sure where they're getting their view from, but they're saying it looks fake. It looks, I say, well, I mean, it is fake in some ways, but at the same time, I think it really works. It does a really good job. I don't know if people are just judging it because Google are doing it with just the one lens, but they've got this technology where each pixel actually has 2 pixels, dual pixel, and I think they explain that they've got a slightly different angle on from each one. Therefore, that's how they can computationally work out the depth of things, basically. I think it looks amazing. You look at some people's portrait mode photos, and it picks out individual hairs are fine, but stuff behind it, I think, really impressive. We shall see. I'll try and get some demos done. You can see there the always on screen. I could do with playing some music. Oh, I think you have to turn it on somewhere, so maybe I'll come back for the review, because it should be able to have a little bit at the bottom showing you what music is playing when it can hear music playing. It uses the same microphone that it would use for the OKG to listen for music. It does it all on the device, so it's not sending things back to Google. You don't need to worry about them listening to what you're saying. So it is limited to about 10,000 songs, I think, but everyone, from what I heard, it works really well. So yeah, the camera, portrait mode, everything like that. I mean, it sounds amazing. We'll see in the next video. Hopefully I can give you a bit more information on that. The battery, non-removable Li-ion 2700. I know there's been a couple of comments that that's a bit small, but then it's a smaller phone. 2700 hopefully is okay. The reviewers have said they get through a day without any problems, so you kind of guess that should be fine. So for the unboxing, I don't know how long we've run now, but that was a lot longer than I was thinking, because I was thinking then I was just going to roll into kind of the review aspect of things, but we'd probably better call it a day at that point. What I would say, if you have enjoyed the unboxing, it has been a very, well, I've kind of felt it was quite a quick move in unboxing, but actually I've been, I don't know, 17 or 18 minutes because I waffled. If you want to see the review, so I'm going to use it for the next few hours. That's all I've got, because I want to give it back to my brother when he comes home later. It's not my device, as I said. So I'll get as much done as I can. I'll do various different tests. I'll take photos, I'll take videos, and I'll jam that all into the next video. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe, or just check back my channel in a few hours, however long it's going to take me. But for now, I would say drop me comments down below if you want me to check things, but I'm not going to have time. By the time I've edited this video and uploaded, I've probably already, well, I will have already filmed everything I was doing for the actual mini review, so no point. So all I would say is just, yeah, well, watch the next video, I suppose. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.